Done there.
Hey, this is not going to work. Why is it that every guest we give water to never drinks?
I know.
Do they think we spit in it,
or they take one little sip and they leave the bottle? Sip.
They think they can take it with you.
That's wasteful.
Take it with you. It doesn't even have any fluoride in it.
Exactly. Oh well, there you go. Drink bottled water, no fluoride.
I almost spilled my coffee.
But recycle your plastic bottles, please.
Put these headphones on. There we go.
Yes. That's Sabatino Cupelli. We all know him as Sab. That you're hearing from there. Yes, I love saying it.
It's Confederate Mike or Mike Steele, but that's okay.
Okay. Oh, that's who you are. I know you. Hey, you're listening to NoogaRadio. I am Cindy. I am the host of the show, and I am so excited to have Sab on with me, as Cindy's Choice is about community collaboration and supporting entrepreneurship and small businesses. And Sab falls into that category. You are an entrepreneur and a small business owner. And all I know about you, Sab, is what I know. Why are you laughing?
You're interviewing me. It's just
I know
I'm not used to being on this side of the mic.
It's weird. It's like you're getting out of your comfort zone, aren't you?
Not really.
Oh, okay, good.
But yeah, I am, because I'm always in control. But however, I do use my real name on Facebook with anything controversial.
Yes.
So that's no big deal. If it's controversial, I'll put my name on it.
You take full claim to that.
Yeah, we entrepreneuring.
Well, what? I mean, all I know you as the owner of the radio show, of NoogaRadio.
Yeah, I own the radio show. Yep.
So that is mainly your background, right? How long have you been a radio guy?
Well, 59 goes into, you want the real story?
Hey, that's what we're here for.
Ever interviewed, because I'm the interviewer.
The tables are turned. You pulled my real story out.
I know you just got to kill 20 minutes, so we can kill 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I like to provide interesting opportunities here, and
when I was about 6 years old, I heard the Beatles. I want to hold your hand, and I really did in Philadelphia. And I said, I want to be on the radio. I want to own a radio station, and that's no lie. At 9 years old, I built a little transmitter. It went about a half a block. At 13, it went about 5 miles. By the time I was 15, it went 20. When I was 16, 17, the Federal Communications Commission closed me down because I was transmitting within a 20-mile radius. So that was my entryway into broadcasting. I
have to tell you, I love that story so much because it also reminds me of our wonderful sponsor, Chicken Salad Chick, because, that's how the Chicken Salad Chick, I wish I could remember her name, lady, got started. She was single mom, and she came up with great recipes and was out selling Chicken Salad Chick door to door until she got turned into the health department. So I love that kind of drive. She has well over 70 locations now, and Josh Patton has opened his third location here at Erlanger Mall. So I love those kinds of stories. I mean, the passion is there.
I hated school, left in 10th grade, hated it. Never been out of work. What was interesting is by closing me down, it helped because a friend of mine he was at WKDU 92.7, I think it was.
That's what we are.
In Philly. And he needed somebody with a third-class radio telephone operator's license to go on the air. Back then, you needed that. And I had one. I got it when I was in 9th grade. So I went on, and I ended up on Drexel University's radio station. And I got a call from Philadelphia Wireless Technical Institute. It was on their radio station. As a matter of fact, Philadelphia Wireless went off the air at 3. And it's 91.7, I'm sorry. And Philadelphia Wireless went on the air at 3. They shared frequencies. So I would put a long record on, get off the air, drive to Center City, and get on the air at the other station. It was pretty funny.
Oh, my goodness. Of fun.
Yeah. That was back in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But tell me that again. So you're in the 9th grade, and you kind of got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
But this other radio station, they needed...
Well, by that time, I was probably 16, 17. They needed, some guy needed somebody with a third-class radio telephone operator's license to go on the air. You had to have that to be a broadcaster.
That's what I was, okay.
And I went on, and eventually went on the radio, went on the other radio station, and the rest is history. And from there, went to commercial broadcasting. But the journey has been really, really, really interesting. I've been shot at. I've been cursed at.
Why am I not surprised?
My car has been smashed. Eggs have been smashed on it from doing talk radio in the 70s. Did everything from news, talk, sports. Didn't own my first station until I was 35. So I worked in radio from the 70s to 1993. Bought a license and put my first station on in 93. Then I had a little group in it through the 90s and got rid of that and did this one. Got here about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Radio is a crazy thing. You have to want to live all over the place and do all nutsy crazy things.
Well, I'm loving it. I'm new to this genre, and I'm absolutely loving it and learning more about it. And it is its own little world. Radio, and because I'm listening and paying more attention now, and there's a certain radio personality there. Like you said, you've had interesting experiences. Well, isn't a lot of that because the drive with radio is you kind of have to almost to create interest that a lot of, I don't know if they still call them disc jockeys, but a lot of DJs, it's almost there because that's part of the job description is that they kind of have to stir things up. And I think that's changing in today's climate because there's just so much media.
I hate to say this, but a lot of them are very boring compared to the jocks of the 60s and 70s. And Stern wasn't the first to do the shock jock genre. It was actually Joe Klein in the 50s with talk radio. And the reason a lot of times when talk show hosts are outrageous is because we know your attention span is about 3 to 6 seconds.
And that's worse than ever.
So let me give you an example. I'm going to give them some background info on why things happen the way they happen. Every radio station you listen to, there's a programmer. And it's his job to program to a particular specific target demographic. If it's a station playing a mixed format, they want 25 to 54-year-old females. If it's a sports station, they're going after males. We're going after 35 to 64, primarily males, 20% females, because that's who listens to talk radio. But if a Sean Hannity or let's say a Rush or your local guy was on the air saying something to the effect of, oh, we need to have a discussion about the school board meeting and the effect it may have on your taxes. You don't want your taxes to go up. And with me is going to be Congressman Jones. And Congressman that will get you no ratings. But if you go on the air and go, you're all a bunch of idiots. You know what? I hate Democrats. They all suck, you baby murderers. It's in your platform. Why don't you all just do me a favor and leave the country? Matter of fact, I'll pay for the boat or a one-way ticket to Canada.
But you don't think that because a lot how social media has has complicated everything. Yeah. You don't think that's changing a little bit where I mean people are getting shocked left and right.
People love reality TV. They love it.
Like you paint your face today. You look. You do you made your hair pretty. You made your hair pretty, didn't you? Well, I'm a professional agitator. You know that.
Like I called in David Tulis today because David was talking about.
I heard you.
He's talking about marriage.
I hear you pick on him all the time.
I'm going to do my David Tulis impersonation. I love David. You can't have marital relations outside of marriage. You must be married in John 3:17 and in Joshua 4:16. I'm just making this stuff up. Outside of marriage. And I called David and said, well, the state considers marriage under their domain with a license, and they can marry Bill and Bob. So you want to be in the same club with that? Hey, I don't. God's going to say, by the way, you do have a license, right? Yeah, I do, God. Been having sex under the license. Yes, I do. And God's going to say, well, that same state that gave you the license gave Bob and Bill the license. And in my Bible, it says that's an abomination. You're going to hell. At least I can say, I ain't got the license.
Okay, I totally lost you on all of that.
Well, of course you did.
But that's a David Tulis show, so y'all.
That's because you're a girl.
Yeah, be sure and tune in Monday through Friday.
I'm just saying that to be controversial.
Yes,
I really don't believe that. You've worked with me. Am I sexist?
I get you.
Am I sexist?
No, not at all.
Am I sexy?
Fab is a great supporter of women. Yes, that's a lot why he's allowed me this platform because he's very supportive of women and women entrepreneurship. And so forth. But I wanted to plug David Tulis.
When I was into athletics, they called me the athletic supporter. So
David has his.
These people are so straight. They're so Christian, and I love it. Cindy and David are so Christian. They just ignore me. I come up and they don't even acknowledge I just said what I said. They're like, "You're evil. You're totally evil."
You're not evil. We just kind of
You guys hate me. Admit it.
Oh, come on.
You do.
Don't even say. I don't even like teasing like that.
Yeah,
I know you're being facetious, but I ain't like teasing like that. Sab is very supportive of women. He's very lovable, and he's very entrepreneurial. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I love
radio, and I love our listener.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what makes it work. That's what makes it work. And you're attracting people like yourself.
I love Chattanooga.
Because that's why I wanted to plug David Tulis. Is he's very passionate about, and he's an advocate for the community.
You and he work like equally hard. I think you're two of the hardest working people I've ever met. You never stop. David never stops. The smartest guy with a bow tie.
That's David.
I say that because I don't have a bow tie.
Yeah, exactly. Me neither.
But you guys like never stop. But the magic of radio is,
I could label myself the smartest blonde, maybe. No,
there you go.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would go over.
But the magic of radio is you
people
really,
know better.
You really do affect people. You can affect people.
It's passion. It's passion. It's passion and that deep desire to really make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's where David and I find commonality. I don't agree with a lot of what David says, but we have great synergy because we're both passionate and committed, and we're both about other people. Yeah. And that's why, and you're the same way, Sab.
You have to serve others. You have to serve your clients. You have to serve your listeners. You have to serve people you work with. If you don't do that, you're going to fail. And to be an entrepreneur, I really believe it can't be taught, learned. It has to be in you, because you're going to work 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
Before this station was put on 4 or 5 years ago, you didn't have this. You had no CBS News. You barely had Sean Hannity. You had no conservative voice. The thing about this station is we're genuine. We're not phonies. When we tell you we believe in the right to life, we do. When we believe in the right to bear arms, we do. When we say we think the federal government and just about all governments are evil, we do, or at least I do.
Right. And that's that's a lot what I love about you.
That, we're not joking.
That's what you believe and what you stand for. But you offer this platform to people like me and David who don't necessarily line up 100% with your beliefs.
And by the way, we've been attacked for that, these viewpoints. Don't let the listener think, there's freedom of speech. Well, it comes with a price. Trust me. When you speak as we speak with our viewpoints on this radio station, you are going to be attacked. There's no question about it. I never get into it because I don't want to scare people into it.
Well, warriors are attacked, Sab. That's just across
and that's what we
board.
are. There's no problem with that.
Exactly.
Let me give you an example. David Tulis was denied access to an event whereby the mayor was going to name the new chief of police. Now, the city council has to agree on it. They don't let him in because they don't like him. Why? Well, the mayor hasn't come on the station for 4 or 5 years. He won't come on for some reason, so it's not our fault. But he wasn't on the mayor's list because David could be a little aggressive.
I was going to say, I bet the mayor come on my show.
Well, let me see you try to get him. I bet you he won't.
Not as aggressive. I bet you it could happen because I am not. I have a different approach than David does. David is a journalist. He is out to get into the guts of stuff, and that's not my platform. So I'm going to attract a different guest than David will. Even though a lot of my guests, they go on to be on David's show, which is a perfect fit for entrepreneurs.
But just let me tell you, when David was denied that, I drove down to the police center and I dealt with them.
Yes.
And I said, had this have been 5 years ago, this would have been me on the radio trashing you for 2 hours getting ratings. But instead, I'm going to give you the opportunity to fix what is wrong. We're going to address this issue so David is never denied the opportunity to join in a press event, because if I have to go to federal court and get the feds to compel you to do it, I'll do it either way. But we could have made the decision not to do that and to come on the air and trash them. But since they don't have the power of the mic and we do, I didn't do that. When Lois Lerner and the IRS was under investigation and attacked, you know what I told all of my people here? You defer more to them than you would as usual, because they typically are not our friends. So when your enemy is being attacked, you give them more rope. You don't kick them when they're down. Stations don't do that. In other words, we were looking at Lois Lerner as the enemy, but instead of going on there and trashing Lois Lerner, we let her hang herself with her own words.
Well, what you did, Sab, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but you actually handled that the Chattanooga way. And that's what I was just talking about with Marco, and I talk about with Stephanie and different people on the show. It's about collaboration. And there's no collaboration without communication. And you went over and you communicated. And that's a very huge sign of your maturity as an entrepreneur and a person. And what did I tell you when you got back here? I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I'm led, I'm very spirit centered, and I'm led by God to be a part of this. And when you came back, when you told me what happened, I said, I knew that you were going to handle it correctly. And you just gave me that much more confidence in being involved with this, because Cindy's Choice is about reputation. I've gotten out there and I've earned awareness and respect and in the area. And people trust me and want to do business with me, and I can't risk that. That's the whole branding of Cindy's Choice.
You can't say.
And you just gave me that much more confidence, because I love NoogaRadio.
Well, you can't say you're going to serve the client, and if the client is government, turn your back on them.
Think
when you're saying you're going to serve everybody in the client, what is it to love those who love you? Try loving those who hate you. Who said that? I think that was Christ. So,
I don't know. My head spins a lot when I talk to you, Sam.
And I thought about that. I'm like, well, what is it to hate the people that we don't like? Let's try loving these people that hate us. And that's what I was thinking about at the time. And on top of that, this radio station is a local station. It's locally owned. It's locally operated. It is really here for you, the listener. You can come on this radio station anytime you want. If your group or organization has an event, we will get you on this local radio station. I love local radio. I actually love AM radio. Unfortunately, it's hard to just make it with AM radio alone. So I want to thank some of my friends in the business who gave us the opportunity to also obtain an FM frequency. So now we're on 92.7 FM, 95.3 high definition 4. If you have a new car, go to 95.3 and search for HD4. We're on there. Mm-hmm. And of course, AM 1240 and all over the web and all over the internet.
And we're live streaming on YouTube right now.
And I'm not saying that to brag about what we do, because I want to brag about all the local radio stations who perform a service in this community. I love all radio, even competitors. I would tell my salespeople, your competition is not radio. If somebody's using radio to advertise, they're doing a great thing. I'd walk into a client and they're on my competition. I go, that's a great thing. You stay with them because you're on the right medium, because radio gets results. Now, if you're advertising with television, you're advertising in print, you're advertising on the billboard or anywhere else, let me tell you why radio works better. I never sell this radio station. I sell radio. Radio is the best medium. Radio is the best platform. I am passionate about radio as an entrepreneur, and even passionate about my competition station when they sound good and when they're local.
I'm listening to so much radio right now, and I have my dial set on 92.7 and listen to NoogaRadio religiously. But I do pop over to the other stations because I'm in a learning mode to learn. I'm passionate about radio, and I'm doing a lot of research, and I'm finding out there are more radio listeners than there are TV watchers. I had no idea. But it makes sense. How much time are we in our cars versus how much time are we able to plant in front of
the reason for that?
A television.
Radio is the only medium you can enjoy without being interfered with. When you read, you have to take your attention away. If you're making love, if you're doing anything else, any other medium takes your attention away except radio. Radio is there in the background and can be with you no matter what you're doing. And it's the last thing you hear when you get out of a car. And radio can bring you anywhere in the world. It uses your imagination. I don't know, you're too young to remember the old radio shows.
No, I'm very familiar. No, I get that. Because I listen to talk radio. Like when I travel, I listen to talk. And I love music. I really love music, but I mostly listen to that on my little technology instrument so that I don't have to listen to commercials. Right. But when I listen to talk, I listen to the commercial because I'm engaged in the conversation and what I'm receiving. And, I want to hang in there and continue with, because you as a listener, you're kind of part of the conversation.
And radio is going back to being more local.
Yes.
I mean, we went through a period of time where the big corporations are buying everything up. And I drive from here to Florida a lot, and it sounds exactly the same. I mean, radio is so sterile. Chattanooga is a pretty good radio market, a lot of good local programming. I think we do 8 to 10 hours of local programming a day. But if I can't blindfold you and drop you in an area and turn on the radio station and have you tell me where you're listening, what area, what is the town, or what is the region, I'm not doing my job as a broadcaster. If that station in Chattanooga sounds like Atlanta, sounds like Philadelphia, sounds like New York, sounds like Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You're not doing the listener service. Radio needs to be live. It needs to be local. It needs to serve the local community. It needs to talk about Chattanooga and Hickson and Salty Daisy, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I love Salty Daisy, Tennessee. I do. I lived in Salty Daisy. Now, Salty Daisy, Tennessee is hard to get advertised. But but I still love Salty Daisy, Tennessee. I love it. As a matter of fact, I told the other guy, I said, you paint up your face and look pretty, and I want you to fix your hair too, look pretty. So we'll be getting soon. Is that Texas? Is that Texas accent?
No. That doesn't sound Texas at all.
My other half says,
don't get me talking Texan.
My other half says, you don't sound, what are you doing? You sound like a Philadelphian trying to sound Southern. And you don't.
Yeah. Or a Philadelphian trying to sound like a girl or something. I don't know what.
Yeah. But I do love Chattanooga.
Well,
let's look at this. How much do we love Chattanooga? Because you're from Texas and you love Chattanooga.
I'm Chattanooga by choice.
Look at EPB. It's socialist. Government control over production and distribution. It is. It's a government entity.
I can't speak.
But it's great. It actually works. There's an example where socialism works. But the only reason it works is because of the people of Chattanooga. If you took that model, well, they modeled after
I hear you.
A capitalist entity. If you took that model and put it in Newark, New Jersey, or Trenton or Philly, it'd be terrible. You'd be calling, customer service would be, you've got 10 minutes to wait. And you finally get to someone, they go, what do you want? Well, I'm having a problem with my internet. Well, did you unplug your box? Yeah, 3 times. Well, we can't help you. Click. Here, they answer right away. Hi, this is Jamie. What can I do for you? Well, I'm having trouble with my internet. Well, we're so sorry. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Your internet's down. I can't believe that. You just hold on 1 minute. Tom, Mr. Cupelli's internet's down. Can you help him? I sure can.
You sound like Dustin Hoffman in that movie.
I'm saying.
Tootsie. You sound like Tootsie.
I'm saying that you get good customer service here in Chattanooga.
Yeah, and I get you. I get what you're saying.
You carry a gun.
And that's
you carry a gun.
Yeah.
You carry heat.
I'm from Texas.
I knew you carried heat. I knew you carried heat.
I'm from Texas. It's like you grow up carrying a gun.
And no one from Texas doesn't carry a gun.
Exactly. There's plenty of Tennesseans that choose gun? Protection as well. We've got 15 seconds. Gosh, Sam, this went really, really quick. And I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship, so I'll have to have you back on. How did it feel to be the guest for a change?
Was I the guest?
Yeah, kind of. Thank you so much for joining me, Sam. You're a blast.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, and that's a wrap.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. NoogaRadio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
And now to our